Hello and welcome
I'm
everyone.
putting that on the record.
But we haven't proven anything yet. I think we've been very involved.
Wow, that is such a loaded question, man.
That was good. That was good.
Money.
Money. Yes. Safety to the risk.
I was alone when I started this hardship. See, either you can discuss or you can decide.
I mean, our bread and butter is coming from our assets and
Auto rickshaw drivers deny you a lot.
business goes with loss and profit.
Hello to all our viewers. Welcome back to Sailing Success with Akanksha. Hello everyone and welcome back to Sailing Success with Akanksha. I am your host Jayarti Rai and today we have two incredible guests with us. Mrs. Akanksha Batura Pai and Mr. Aditya Batura. They are siblings, innovators and game changers in the marine industry. Today's episode is not about careers. It's about the bold choices and the changes they brought into the marine industry. Let's welcome both. Hello, Aditya. Hello, Akanksha.
Hi,
It's a
Jared.
pleasure that you are here today. So, let me begin with a fun question. Since you both are siblings, so who was the troublemaker growing up?
So my elder sister is here in front of me, so I will have to let her take this question.
So, first of all, hi, Jayati. It's so lovely to be here. And I'm not sure if we're that incredible as you make it seem, but this first question will definitely kill our incredibleness. But yeah, the definite troublemaker is him. It still is him.
Okay.
I am proud of that. Someone has to do it.
Yeah, I am the elder sister in the house, so I know how you feel.
There you go. I'm already outnumbered, so I might as well accept it.
Yes. So, like, you have a family history of shipping, right? So, I just wanted to understand from you both, like, is it the legacy you're taking forward, or this came from within as you grew up in the family? Like, we want to be in the maritime industry.
It's a hard one to answer,
It's-
actually. Like I love that you started with such a relaxed question and then you went deep into it. But I think the way it worked in our household was that my father, his name is Captain Ashok Batura. He's the founder of the companies that we work with. Essentially, he never started this as a legacy business or as a, this is what I'm going to pass down to my kids. He did something that he thought he was good at. And he wanted to provide a service or do a solution to the industry that was ethical, professional, and essentially like there was a timelessness to it as well. So with us coming in, actually, it has never been. He has never asked us. He has never once said that, "Hey, would you like to take over something?" No, he has never asked. We've just realized that this is something we've loved and we've fallen in love with while growing up. So that's been my experience, and I would speak on his behalf a little bit, but you can add on.
No, for sure. Exactly. And I think with the Asian parenting, a lot of times it is like you're going to do this, whether you like it or not. We never had that at all. And to be honest, I think it's really helped because that's why we are so passionate about what we do, because we're doing it by choice and we know why we're doing it. There's a purpose to it. And it's not just because we were thrown into it. And more so, we have more respect for bringing the legacy forward because we were never, forced to do it. So now it's something that we feel like it's our purpose.
Yeah, this sounds great because it reminds me of my time when, I was growing up and my father has been into steel industry. So I have always seen the manufacturing part and, the technical part of it.
That's
And
right.
I always wanted, while seeing him, wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So it's about passion and I'm so happy that you're following that. And
Yeah.
you both are doing incredible.
You're very kind, but I thought, audience members, I was very impressed when I found out that this lovely host right here is a mechanical engineer.
Thank you so
It's honestly, this is what the industry needs. Like you need an injection of different kinds of people and different skill sets. Different passions, different hobbies, so that this industry doesn't look as boring or dark and weird.
It's one-dimensional.
Yeah, it's
right?
not
Yeah.
one-dimensional at all.
Exactly.
yes.
With people like
Us, hopefully.
of course, these lovely ladies in front of me.
Thank you so much. So this brings me to another question.
Yes.
That is, maritime industry is a male-dominated industry, you would say, right?
Yeah.
Men all around. Like when
quite true,
I'm
yes.
a part of so many seminars and events and meetings we attend, so you often find yourself alone standing in the crowd. So, Akanksha, how does that feel, and how do you overcome the challenges?
Actually, the thing is the challenge will only be overcome by right if we have a 50-50 percentage, right? So in order to do that, there are certain things you can do. One is be seen, right? So frankly, I like to support endeavors that are run by women as well, including this podcast, this video cast. So that's one thing. The second thing is you will always have man ambassadors, what I call man ambassadors, your male counterparts who are your ambassadors. They are your advocates. And I have had many of them, and they have pushed for me, for my career so much that I didn't think I could do some things and they did, you know. And that's right, because they're in positions of power and they have to make those decisions. So I feel like the industry is changing where there are men in those positions and they realize that there needs to be some affirmative action that takes place, you know. And I think that's been quite helpful as well. And the third thing is, I think I've not experienced that much of sexism. I think, see, the one thing also is that when you work with captains and engineers, actually they are very gentlemanly. Okay, the difficult part is, like in our industry as well, we have, you know, the blue and white collar mix, which is the gold collar. That sometimes gets difficult to manage, but more often than not, there is a respect for women, and it feels awkward sometimes because yes, you may get hit on, you may get weird propositions, but that can happen in other industries as well, you know. So I don't want to make it sound so horrible. It is really not. It's actually very exciting, very fun, and I stand on the on the shoulders of giants. So, and there are so many women who have supported my career. So I would like to do that for people as well, and I think that the more that keeps happening, there's a momentum, and it'll shift. It'll shift.
That's great to know because, from my personal experience, when I was joining this industry or when I came in, so when my seniors were introducing me to a couple of people, they were like, "Ladki ko kyun le liya?" Okay, so I'm sure they are thinking,
Yeah.
and now that okay. Women are no lesser than
Yeah.
men, and there were people who supported me
Yeah.
during my time, and I'm sure you have such people,
Yeah.
and that's why you're here doing great job in the industry.
You keep saying that, but we haven't proven anything yet. So you're very
Yeah.
kind, but
Yeah.
but we're just trying to do our part. That's it. You know.
So, Akanksha, you were talking about man ambassadors.
Yeah.
So, I am sure one of them is sitting here who
Yeah.
has been your support system throughout the journey.
Yeah.
So, Aditya, would you like to put some light on that? Like, how do you pursue women being in the industry and how they are changing the dynamics of the industry?
Sure. I think Akanksha has mentioned a lot of things that are very pertinent. For me, seeing my sister in the industry doing great things, great work, and getting the recognition that she truly deserves is just heartwarming. And there's so many powerful women. So I accompanied Akanksha to Vista, right, last October in Cyprus, and it was such a an amazing experience for me, being completely outnumbered. Right,
Not a
'Cause-
usual feeling,
yeah,
right?
not a usual feeling, and it was honestly pretty intimidating. So now I know what it feels like, right? And
That's pretty cool.
now they call me a Vista Mister, right? That's the accolade. So and through that experience, I got to see all these amazing women who are doing great things for the industry, and I realized that although there's a lot to be left to be desired, in terms of the balance in gender roles, there's a lot that's already been achieved, and I didn't know, and I was so proud of that, and the support system that the women have made through organizations like Vista is just incredible. I'm super proud of how far the industry has come with stalwarts like you guys.
And if
Thank
I
you.
may add, actually, for many of our companies, we have hired and retained operational women, because generally women, we do have a lot of women on the account side, which is quite common in our industry. But we have also done that for operations, and we have left it to them. if they want to keep serving, right? We
Oh,
have done that
100%.
for.
And in our time in the businesses that we run, we've started seeing a lot more women coming into operational roles, roles of leadership, and I also run a technology business. And even in that, I'm so proud to say that, most of the leadership is women. And to me, it's a wonderful thing to see that, there's change happening and there's women who are able to do this. And they're able to do, in fact, a better job than men, right? Because women tend to be more meticulous in the way they plan things. So it's and very detailed oriented, right? So it's great to see that.
Yeah. Thank you, Aditya. So I think you like getting or doing these cool things, getting this cool tag of Vista Vista, is it? Yeah.
Vista, Mister. Yeah.
Vista Mister.
Yeah.
Okay. And also one of the very cool things that I read about is potato pirates. So
Oh, yes.
would you like to add some light to that?
Yeah, so like I said, our father never forced us to join the industry. So I started my career, running my own education company, and the first product that we launched with that was Potato Pirates. And I'm a degreed software engineer, and I wouldn't wish it on my enemies, right? Because it is such a horrible thing to learn, and eventually I realized it's just because we are not teaching it correctly, right? So I would say I saw about 80% of my friends drop out, and they said, like, this is not for me, mujhse nahi hoga, right? And it's really because we are not taught properly. There are two fundamental basic building blocks to computer science. It's logic and what we call syntax. Syntax is grammar. Unfortunately, in computer science, it's written in mathematical jargon like brackets, parentheses, semicolons, and if you miss one out, nothing works. But the logic is rudimentary. Like a child, a 7-year-old child could learn it. It's simple things you say every day, like if it's raining, take an umbrella or else don't. Or run for 3 times, run around this building. Simple instructions that we use every day. So that's what I realized, that, you know what, if we can deconstruct this and decouple these two basic building blocks and just focus on the logic, we can possibly do something. So I had no intention of making board games for a living, but I have no regrets either. So what we saw, and we've written papers about this, like scientific papers. What we see is 9 out of 10 people, about 87% of people without a computer can understand basic fundamentals of computer science in just 1 hour. And it's really because we weren't after something, we were just trying to solve a problem. And that's what Potato Pirates does. So we've been blessed to do 3 successful games, and we've been featured, in pretty big publications like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, completely organically, right? And like I said, it's really just because we did not have any ulterior motives. We were really just trying to solve a problem. Now I hope we can bring that kind of philosophy into shipping, and bring that same kind of mindset of problem solving. Sometimes innovation is very simple, right? And the innovation of Potato Pirates was coding without computers. It's just a board game, but it's still innovation, right? So innovation doesn't have to always look that way. So I feel like that's what the shipping industry needs to understand. Like, innovation doesn't always have to be like AI, it can be something simple, but it has to solve a problem. That's it.
And it's a very good message that you're giving out here, like you being a computer science graduate. And I have read that. We had this
Everyone should.
subject in,
Yeah.
I think,
Engineering,
first
yes.
year.
Everyone
yeah.
should, yeah.
And I used to feel so terrible whenever I had those lectures, because I never understood it,
Yeah.
to be honest. So I'm more on the hardware part of it.
Correct.
So it's a very good message that people from various industries, like you being in computer science, I being in mechanical, we are a part of marine industry.
That's right.
So there will always be a synergy between these industries, and
Definitely.
that's what we should look for.
Yes.
Yeah. So would you like to tell people more about how technology is taking over in the marine industry and finding the synergy?
Yeah. Loaded question. Very loaded question. And Akanksha moderated a panel yesterday at ShipTech, which talked about, digitization and AI. And we were discussing on the way, and I told her, look, actually it's very difficult to discern, the signal from the noise, because there's so much out there. And it's difficult to understand what's actually solving problems and what's hype, right? And that's with any, I guess, with any trend that happens, right? Because a lot of things will show up overnight because the barrier to entry is reduced. So a lot of people are able to put something out there. And we see that with shipping. But I think there's a lot of scope in where this is going. Now, it's really just about how well we can adapt and adopt technology, but that hangs in the balance of mindsets, because change is the most difficult thing to inculcate in people, because no one likes change. But at the same time, change is the only constant in life, right? So, and that's like my uphill battle for the past 10 years. And I'm blessed to say that all our businesses run on digital products that we have built in-house from the ground up, right? But it took a while, right? And we still face those problems. People are still like, why do I have to do this, right? But what I would like to say is that if you have to convince people to use a solution that you've built, means you haven't solved the problem.
Yeah.
Because if you have solved the problem, they will flock to it. They will say, yes, I want this. Like, they will be pulling it out of your hands because it makes their life easier. So what I've noticed is that a lot of times with digital transformation efforts, it just becomes an added step in your workflow, but you still maintain your Excel sheet.
Yeah.
Right? And that's completely self-defeating. So that's the hallmark of good innovation, right? And that's what I said. We have to discern the signal from the noise. Like, if people are actually building good products and solving problems, then you wouldn't have this friction of user adoption, right? And that's what comes, and that brings me to user-centered design, right? And that's something that we can talk about in detail in the future. It's something I do a lot, and it's something I'm speaking about at ShipTech today. But that's really what it is. It's about solving people's problem. And like I said, innovation doesn't have to look a certain way. And the last point I want to make here is that companies try to do everything all at once. And that's a recipe for disaster, right? So what we have adopted is always incremental approaches, So being able to just identify one, I guess, like business unit or area of operation that really is a bottleneck and seeing how to solve it. And that approach has worked.
Thank you so much, Aditya. That
problem.
was really nice to know that innovation and technology goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
But coming to that, Akanksha, there's one more point that we cannot miss talking about is sustainability. So what is your take on adding sustainability to innovation and technology to make it a power pack combination in the shipping industry?
So honestly, the short answer is that I think the moment you digitize, you make an operation more sustainable. And there is a difference, right? Like, one is that the industry, if you're going to net zero versus actually being sustainable, I don't know how to put this, but one is an accounting problem, right? And one is an actual physical manifestation of an operation you're deciding to do, that I'm not going to use certain fuels or whatever. So that, frankly, that is not in my, alternate fuels is not in my bandwidth. It is nobody's. Everybody's trying to figure out whether it's regulation or it's supply side or it's demand side, what will push the needle. But when you ask me about sustainability in, for instance, smaller companies like ours, frankly, the moment you digitize, you do a lot of things more sustainably. Because a large part of shipping, especially on the lower rungs, and when I say lower rungs, please don't get me wrong, shipping is very highly fragmented. So most people operate on, there are so many SMEs in this space. Most of them are paper-based. And so the moment you digitize, that's number one, that you immediately make it easier. Number two, I think when you digitize, you also use resources that are somewhat not being utilized at the moment. So, for instance, people who are generally disenfranchised from the work community, like stay-at-home mothers or differently abled people. And by doing that, there's a value of sustainability that comes on different levels. Yeah. Okay, so I look at it from a very holistic point of view. It is really not just how much paper am I using, how much oil am I using, how much carbon am I consuming. It really is so holistic. And right now, what the issue with shipping is that, at least on the SME side, the data is not yet mined quite properly, right? And when you don't have proper data, you can't really implement any of the digitized solutions properly. And it's a little bit of a chicken and egg. So I think we first have to solve a few of the actual digitization problems, and then automatically it will impact sustainability. What we have to do on our side, and what we are doing at least in our companies as well, is we're educating ourselves. Okay, all to me these are buzzwords. To me, I can see already when certain things need to be done. Like when we speak up, like when there are conferences and stuff where we're using excessive amount of plastic, we have spoken up. We have made changes for the things that I sit on, the panels, the committees I sit on. And these are just normal changes you can make, right? I mean, you don't need a paper to tell you. You don't need a entire guideline, a roadmap, all that. But so it's a little bit of a mishmash answer, I get it. But, it's because I think that it's so holistic. I don't really find a way to like immediately access it. I just think that, you have to educate yourself. 2 is hit the low-hanging fruit, right? Like, some people haven't even changed out from photocopying things or from changing their energy efficient lighting. Small things like this, or even, for instance, the cars that our staff will drive soon will be EVs. Our fleet of vehicles that we use to transport crew is more environmentally friendly. So all these things also make a difference. But this isn't like, nobody needs to tell me that. It's quite like common sense. So I feel like, and also I feel like as Asians, we've always been taught to be more saving and sustainable. So I've never really felt the need on a smaller scale to be told that. Of course, if there are more technologies coming up, I keep myself abreast. We do that in the company, but I don't have a solid answer for you. But that is just my understanding of sustainability in our side.
Yes.
And the more we digitize, I'm very sure we will become more sustainable.
I'm sure. The other day, so I'm a fan of Shark Tanks.
Okay.
And I really love watching the ideas. So
Yeah.
there was one episode where they were just talking about the sustainable businesses.
Yeah.
And how you can incorporate this in the daily life.
Right.
And I came across an app.
Yeah.
Okay. So that app is going to tell you small things. Like, for example, if you mention that I took a bus today
Yeah.
instead of a vehicle,
Yeah.
own vehicle. So you save so much on the carbon footprint. So I think these are the small steps that if we bring into life,
Yes.
in our daily lives, in our routines, and on a platform where it is more global, because 80% of everything, the global trade and all this is happening through shipping. So
Yeah.
if maritime industry adopts to these small steps, I think we can bring a bigger change.
Yeah. And to be clear, right? Like, it's not that we do not know that it's like our emissions essentially for as Sinoda or as TransAsia, RAX, any of our companies will become scope 3 emissions for the larger clients that we serve. We understand that. But frankly speaking, the road to that accounting, there's still much to be paved. Okay. It's still in my opinion, a good 5-10 years away. Because I remember the digitization journey started about a decade back. It takes time.
Yes.
And so while we are working with our own, communities and all of that to develop hopefully some roadmaps, and we take part in those communications, those conversations to develop something. What I mean to say is, do your part now. Don't wait for that accounting to come up. Don't wait for your report. Don't wait to come up with that, because that will take time. And sure, you may find certain things on how to improve it. For instance, like you've mentioned itself, but there are some things, low-hanging fruit, that we can do right now, and at least finish the digitization journey, or at least get on it. Then that'll make a difference, and then you can do your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 accounting, or all of that. But again, that is an accounting issue as well. Many times, you're offsetting and all of that. So while that is valuable, I feel like making solid changes that are physically manifestable, do that now. Yeah.
Okay. So that was a really elaborative answer, Akanksha. And I'm sure as an industry, we are taking smaller steps. And like Aditya was also mentioning that bringing all together is only a spoiled business, right? So step by step, I think we'll be through there.
Yeah.
So innovative and sustainable.
Yes,
That's
hopefully.
the industry.
Yeah.
So Aditya, like we mentioned about so many things now, and you have been wearing so many hats in one go, right?
Yes.
So educator, innovator, and also into the marine industry. So would you like to give our viewers a few tips on, where they could see themselves in the shipping industry if they think of being there?
This is a great time to enter the industry because it's a time of great change, and there are a lot of new roles that are being created in the industry.
Yeah.
And not just in the marine industry. I mean, this is across all industries. Like 2 years ago, the word prompt engineer was never on any job description or a CV, and now it is, right? Because companies are hiring people to write good prompts because with using LLMs or API based AI tools, you need that skill set, right? Because nowadays pretty much every company has the ability to be an AI company, right? So what I'm trying to say is that there's so much opportunity, and sometimes you have to create it for yourself, right?
Yeah.
By understanding what is required in the industry, right? And that could take some time. But if I guess if it's someone new who's trying to enter into the industry, I would say that there's so much content that is being created, like on MOOC platforms like Udemy, right, Coursera. There are a lot of people who are putting up really great content to teach people about maritime, to teach people about the shipping industry. A couple of my friends in Singapore are doing great work. They're running SaaS businesses that are doing successfully without, raising a single cent from VCs, really because they're teaching about the right kind of content that people want to learn about, right? Be it about chartering, shipbroking, whatever it is. So there's a lot that you can learn, just sitting at home. But I guess the next step to translate that is to hunt down a job opportunity, an internship opportunity. And nowadays internships are an in thing that every industry appreciates, right? So there are a lot of internship opportunities in the marine sector. So I think it's not very difficult to get an entry into it, but you got to have the will to do it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that the problems of maritime, right, essentially are going to be, they are multidisciplinary. And the only way to solve them is to get injection from different other industries, right? And that's exactly what's happening now. Like roles that didn't exist are existing now. And there are some famous authors, I forget who I'm supposed to quote for this, but who literally say that, your skill set can be very valuable. Your skill set can be a skill set that is not as valued in the industry that you're in. Like, let's say if you're a graphic designer in media and communications, like like let's say whatever. But imagine you translate that to a pharma industry, right? And then you're making content to get out infomercials for the next drug. So the thing with maritime is quite similar actually. We are really having a dearth of certain kinds of skill sets, and if you can apply or if you can find that niche for yourself, you will really do well, I feel. And that actually has to be very much not employer driven, but more employee driven. Because even the employers don't know what they don't know. And sometimes if you can have a vision of what you can add on to an organization and you can pitch it, yeah. And I think it is totally fine to pay your dues by doing internships or, in our time, we were literally doing free internships. Now there's no such thing as that's exploitation. And that is true. I agree with it. But what I mean is, if you can even get a stipend for the work you're doing, it's fine. You have to pay your dues. The way we did it, as I said before, it was no pay. But
I didn't get paid. Yeah.
but I'm not saying that that's what you need to do. I'm just saying that don't have like high hopes when you're starting out.
Yeah.
Just start, pay your dues. That is important, and do every job that you get, however small it may be, do it well. You're tasked to get a coffee, make that coffee well. You're tasked to do a photocopy, be like, do you need it stapled? As in, go the extra mile, even if it's a small job. And if someone gives you an opportunity, take it and do well.
Would you like it double-sided?
Yeah, you like it double-sided or single-sided, yeah. But yeah. That's
Yes,
my thoughts
I
on
think
these.
that's a great message coming out from both of you, because I think those are the small steps or that extra mile that you go, which will make a difference
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
Anywhere, wherever you are.
Please excuse our manners. We are both having runny noses.
That's
So you see us like sneaking out, like doing this. I'm putting that on the record.